Hi guys, I'm Jiaoying Summers. Welcome to the Tiger Milk podcast.
Not rules, but like all my best practices and, here's what I would do here and here's what I would do here and here'd never do this except for this. So we've built this like Bible
That's
of
smart.
editing. Yeah. And even for like, even just like formatting and, for podcasting. So we've sort of like built this, this sort of like editing guide so we can try to like get people into our philosophy.
Yeah.
So I have this, I kind of like have a way that I do everything. And so now that we've talked it out so much and I've put it out all on paper, I sort of have like almost what would be like a course of how to be an editor, I guess.
That's amazing.
I guess. I mean, it helps because it definitely helps when you're bringing someone in to be able to sort of like have a philosophy and a Bible,
Yes, that's
and
I
a
should do
reason
that.
why.
That's
Because
smart.
a lot of times you're just like, here's why we do this and like, here's what we do, but here's like the reason for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everything's like trade-offs. Even in jokes, you might be like, if you say this, it would get this laugh, but we don't like it because of that. And I have a lot of it's like the trade-offs of like, I know that this is a better way to do it for this reason, but the reason we don't like to do it is for this reason. So I have a lot of that stuff.
That's smart.
written
I
into
should
our
do that
code.
for my editing team.
I think it like is one of the. I spent a lot of time kind of trying to like systemize everything.
Smart.
Yeah, just so but it's started to kind of like pay off. I feel like it's like now finally like freed up a lot of my like time and we can like just do so much more stuff and I can kind of be like actually fully removed from certain things. And it's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
It took a long time to get there, but like over the last 2 months, like if you talked to me like 6 months ago, I felt like way more stressed. Right now, I feel like a lot of that work
That's
is like
great.
paid off and now I'm like
I'm
in
learning.
it, making stuff.
The Bible is very important. Because
Yeah, you got your like
I have,
philosophy, right? It's hard to teach people your
I
philosophy.
have interns start working and they are so sweet, and I just want to make sure like there's a Bible for them to like go through and.
Well, you have
look at.
instincts, right? So
Yeah.
I'm sure when you do a joke, I'm sure you've done a joke where you're like, that kills, but I don't really like it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you know that.
Yeah.
And that's like based on your years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
But like, how do you explain to someone that now, right?
Yeah.
You go, oh, I don't really like it. You can tell them and they can like listen, but can you explain why? And then that's how you get people on the same page.
Yeah.
So
that's
you
brilliant.
almost like give things a grading system. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
brilliant.
yeah, because you kind of already do that in your head. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, here would be an example. You're like, the perspective's a little off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's certain things that I don't really like to talk about. Or
Yeah.
there's certain things that I wouldn't really, like, it's a little off my point. But if it was like the best joke ever, we might make an exception.
Yeah, I'm like that makes me sound sexist, but I'm sexist. I don't like my daughter, so it's fine because people know it's a joke.
Yeah.
Because my daughter is way smarter than my son. Like, yeah, and then like I don't want. Sometimes like when I do a trans joke, when they cut halfway, sometimes like there's so much laughter and it's like too long. They cut halfway. It makes you look like a Nazi. I'm like, are you gonna post
it's
this?
the worst.
I'm like, I'm gonna post this.
Yeah.
Are you getting me canceled?
You go, this is something my enemy would post.
Yeah, I'm like, you're gonna post this? I'm like, the whole what?
I've had that same thing. Yeah.
I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, you go, you're essentially cutting this how someone doing a hit piece on me would cut it.
Exactly. Like when you are running for president, they want to make you look like you are not like a fucking Hitler. So they just
Yeah. So that's an easy one.
you're like, I'll refer you to work for blah blah.
So that would be an example of an easy one where you're like, would this would I want to be portrayed this way?
Mhm.
And then you kind of, but like, like anything that you remove context, you're like, okay, so if you're removing context of what I'm saying ever, you need to have like a really good reason why.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are in my system. I think a lot of people do things differently, but the way that I think of things a lot of times is just like, it's always the most, before getting into like the actual like nitty gritty of things always, but the original part is like every move that you make should be like purposeful. So like anything you do, be like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
So like if you remove context, like explain to me like, why would you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I have one of my clip.
Or here's an example. Like if a video is, let's say you're doing like a internet video, right?
Mhm.
And on YouTube, let's say you're doing a sketch, like you want to sit around like 2:30. That's like the norm for us or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And someone does a cut that's like 5.5 minutes. Like, I'm not saying I'll never do a 5.5 minute sketch, but like explain to me why it needed to be like, why is that better? Like, what are you getting out of that? Those are all like specific formatting things, but
Yeah.
more so it's like the jokes,
Yeah, it's I think explaining the why really helps them to be on the same page. That's so smart.
Force people to explain. Yeah, justify what you did. Like, just sell it to me. Like, if you think that's good, like, sell it to me. Why? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of
But
instincts.
it works in any company, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's
It is kind of mechanical to
training people to
Yeah, and it is kind of mechanical to like
to learn.
have to think about art that way. But it's like if you're going to have other people do things for you, you have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they can do it their way, and then you can try to like hunt for people that like really align with you. But it's like, I mean, if you're in a scenario where like you're popular right now, and you're like, I don't know what, and I don't even. Let's say I'm not even gonna like pick a number, but I'll just say like being crazy liberal and saying the top like 5,000 most popular comedians or whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like out of what 6 billion people,
Mm-hmm.
then you go, okay, so you need to find someone else that's that, which
Yeah.
is why
Yeah.
it's so far hard to like find someone that's, you know, so you're better off finding someone that I think it's better off finding someone that's like pretty naturally talented, but they're like really intuitive at picking up. Like, you know how some people are really good, but they can't write for other people?
Yeah.
You want people that can write for other people.
Yeah.
Like you want someone that can tap into someone else's, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what like makes like a good editor or a good, you know,
Yeah.
partner in that
Yeah.
sort of sense.
It's very hard for me to hire comedians to work for me because they always want to become you. Like they end up wanting to.
Yeah,
do
or
it.
they have their own formula that they're like beholden to, and they're
Yeah.
hard to get away from it. So they can agree, but they don't actually agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, well, you can say, like it's like sometimes it's like a lot of these things are taste too, right? So it's like they can be like, okay, I think you're wrong. It's like, well, a lot of times there isn't a wrong or right. There's like a
The
philosophy of
feeling,
what the goal is.
like the instincts. Like
Yeah.
I always know which one is gonna go viral. Sometimes like I'm very embarrassed. I'm like, oh my god, that's embarrassing. But it's the numbers are gonna hit, so just let it go.
Sure.
Sometimes-
Sometimes it's the smallest things, like